It's Tuesday evening, and I hope you're doing well. You doing okay? You hanging in there? Not living in fear, are you? Better not be. World's still going crazy, and we're riding the storm. I got quite a bit to show you tonight. Even a brand new favorite news story. I don't actually get many of those, but this is one of my favorites I've seen in a long time. This is the most interesting one for me. It may be different for you, but this is one of the most interesting ones I've seen since that story about a year and a half ago. There was a guy that went skiing in California. Do you remember this story? And then he disappeared. He was with a group of people. He disappeared. No one knew where he went. And he showed up on the other side of the country in New York, I believe it was, still wearing the same ski gear and not knowing how he got there. Since then, a lot of people say, oh, he was in a truck and, da-da-da, and whatever it is. But all the different theories that have come out, all the stories, none of it makes any sense. It's all been really weird. So that was definitely one of my favorite stories I'd stumbled across in a while. Before that had been the one about the reptilian secret agent. You remember that story? They found a guy that had a car that was created in a way where he could also drive underwater. Do you remember this? And he had this weapons cache and all kinds of, different passports and identification. And I believe the story went that he had told his wife that he was from another planet or something and working for the government. I can't remember the whole story. It was a really strange one. Anyway, I'm rambling. Hey, welcome to the show. I hope you're doing good for real. And thank you to the moderators for being here. As always, a huge shout out to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. Thank you guys so very, very much. I really appreciate you. More than you know. I really appreciate you. And on that note, let's just go ahead and move on because we've got quite a bit to get into on this Tuesday evening. So buckle up. Buckle up. Let's go ahead and get started. Pennsylvania bans the sale of alcohol at bars and restaurants ahead of Thanksgiving. We'll be seeing a lot more of this. We've been seeing a lot of it in America. They call them the Democrat governors and mayors. These seem to be the people who are the most power hungry and just going crazy. It's like no one even knows what they're doing anymore. It's just, hey, let's ban this, let's ban that. But these are your kings and queens. These are the new kings and queens in America that are reigning over these different states and treating their peasants like garbage, of course, and then doing whatever they want to do. That's the mayor of Pennsylvania. There you have it. There you go. Not cool. Okay, I think I have to block this here. This is not going to go away. Well, the headline is 2 C-19 tests a week could win people a, quote, freedom pass. That's on the Telegraph, which we can't read unless I don't want to start a trial with these people. But it's on the Telegraph. You want to look it up. Exclusive. 2 COVID tests a week could win people freedom pass. How about that? Freedom pass. Sounds great. Everybody wants a freedom pass. Here's another example of one of these American queens. Oregon Governor Kate Brown encourages residents to call police on neighbors violating C-19 rules. This is all that programming we got from, remember, TSA really started with TSA. If you see something, say something. And we see what it's turned into.
Priority as governor is to keep Oregonians healthy and safe. That's where I'm focused. We continue to make decisions based on science and data, and we want to make sure that Oregonians can access health care, whether it's hospital beds or a nurse or a doctor when they need it.
I was kind of hoping we could see her say it. Okay, let's see.
Look, this is no different than what happens if there's a party down the street and it's keeping everyone awake. What do neighbors do? They call law enforcement because it's too noisy. This is just like that. It's like a violation of a noise ordinance.
Yeah, you gotta love the way she says it. No big deal, guys. Everything's cool. It's just the way it's always been.
This is about
Nothing to get excited
saving
about.
lives, and it's about protecting our fellow Oregonians. It's about protecting our families. It's about protecting our vulnerable community members, and frankly, it's about protecting the entire state of Oregon.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of that, a lot of those kind of stories, and as I said, we'll be seeing more. They're going full on. What's shaping up, and I've got some stories on it here tonight, is you can really see that divide coming between those who want to be a part of the agenda and those who don't. That's really how to break it down. It's not going to be necessarily Republican and Democrat and all this other stuff. It'll be people who want to go along with the agenda and people who don't. And there's a lot of stories even this past week popping up, all mainstream media talking about how we need to make lists of Trump supporters, and these Trump people are going to pay. And so even if Biden winds up officially becoming the president, nothing's going to calm down. They're not going to stop. Now they're emboldened. So now we're really starting to see that divide. You hear Chubbs? Hi, Chubbs. Come on over. But now we're really starting to see that. These will be the ones I always picture screaming and yelling at you as your, maybe not you, but some who are in that line to the guillotine. These will be the crowds screaming and yelling. You deplorables. I mean, however they frame it, whatever it is. We already know the Bible tells us that it's going to be us. It'll be followers of Christ ultimately that are really in the crosshairs. But there'll be other people involved too. So there'll be a lot of people who aren't necessarily followers of Christ, who haven't figured it out, who haven't made a decision, who don't want to go along with what's happening as well. 14 million people will lose their unemployment benefits, 30 million at risk of eviction on January 1st. While markets remain on edge over the sudden tension between the Treasury and the Fed following Mnuchin's surprise notice to Powell that the Treasury would let 8 of the key 13 emergency programs currently in place at the Fed expire on December 31st, which also threatens the continuation of helicopter money into 2021 is the only reason the Fed has been able to monetize all U.S. issuance this year while sending stocks soaring has been the close cooperation between the Fed and Treasury. Another more important expiration will take place on December 31st and will likely have far more profound consequences for the broader U.S. population. On December 31st is when many of the key provisions in the CARES Act are set to expire if there is no action from Congress. All else equal, some 12 million Americans will likely lose access to their emergency unemployment benefits activated in the aftermath of the scamdemic, which alone could be a drag of up to 1.5% to growth in 1Q, according to Bank of America. It's a bunch of banker talk. I don't understand all that. What are you throwing at me over here? But there's the gist of it. So we'll see how that goes. Keep your eyes on the CARES Act. Here's a cool capture. Somebody recorded a massive orb landing. It appears in their backyard. Check this out. It's from Canada. The footage is filmed November 21st.
My God, I'd go on my face so fast if I tried to.
UFO.
If I tried to do more than walking down that hill with all that heavy equipment.
UFO. Check out the UFO. It's way off in the woods. You can see the moon way over there.
I know, as long as I'm done, he dropped your mask. Joe? No one else is going anywhere, although the malls are shut down.
Check out the UFO. It's way off in the woods.
I already did.
You can see the moon way over there.
Yeah. I will here. As long as I'm done it. You dropped your mask. Joe?
Although the malls are shut down.
All right, here comes the music and all the effects. We get it. What would you do if you saw something like that in your backyard? Would you approach it? Man, there's a video I saw last night. It was on that paranormal caught on camera show. These kids, I think it was in the Philippines, captured, it looked like another one of those humanoid type looking things that are all white. They're all white and they're bald. You have kind of scary looking face. That was from 2019. It was a really weird capture, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was wanting to find it and show it to you guys. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, here we go. This is the story I was telling you about. I love this story. I think it's really interesting. Let's play this. It's a short clip. Check this out.
Captain's log, starting 11/18/2020. The crew of the Utah DPS helicopter traveled to southern Utah on a mission to count bighorn life forms with wildlife officers.
And he's like, whoa, 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 turn around. And
Come on.
turn around. And
Here, I'll refresh it. See if this helps.
Starting 11/18/2020. The crew of the Utah DPS helicopter traveled to southern Utah on a mission to count bighorn life forms with wildlife officers.
And he's like, whoa, 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 turn around. And
Crap, are you kidding me? Let's see. Oh. Pause. Gosh darn, man. All these websites. Most of them have tons of ads now. Tons of ads.
Starting
Nice.
11/18/2020.
See if I can jump past that part. Come on. Looks like it's going to get stuck.
On a mission to count bighorn life forms with wildlife officers.
And he's like, whoa, 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 turn around. And
Man, it keeps sticking right there. I can't believe that. Okay, let me see. Huh. It's not even letting it be played now. That's so messed up. Okay. Maybe I'll try to find it here in a while. I guess I'll tell you. There's this news crew somewhere in, I believe, Utah. And one of the guys noticed something out in the middle of nowhere. And they flew around and checked it out. They flew down there. They landed and looked at it. And it was this, what's the word for it? Obelisk. It's like an obelisk type thing in the middle of nowhere, completely metal, just stuck in the middle of the desert. It's really big too. It's kind of like that scene from 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was kind of weird, but guess we don't get to see that. Let's see if this will play.
whoa, whoa, turn around. And
Nope. See, it pauses on that every time. Maybe they don't want this information getting out. I don't know. Let's see if you guys can find it, man. That sucks. This was actually a really good story about it too. Maybe I'll take a look here a little later. Well, until then, at least we have a doom break. So check this out. This is pretty great. This is, I think it explains itself. Somebody put a little musical tune to someone on the left, they say, someone on the left having a meltdown. You're kidding me. Come on, Twitter. Let's see here. They might be screwing with this one too. I don't know. Let's see. Yep. Look at this. I've never had this happen. It's not my computer. I've never had it to where I just couldn't play. I mean, these things were playing earlier, all of these. All right, let's move over here and see if we'll just move on. This is from John Delaney. Says, pay everyone $1,500 to get the vax scheme. It's a stimulus check and big vax scheme incentive rolled into one. I don't know who John Delaney is. Look him up. Let's see. CEO, philanthropist, served in Congress. Okay, sure. It says, result, more people get the vax scheme. It saves lives, helps people financially, and the $400 bill pays for itself with an economic boost for ending the pandemic. There you go. These people actually like this idea. 71,000 hearts it got. 71,000 hearts. Great idea. Pay people to get it. Sure. They may have to. I don't know if this is actually going to play. This has just happened in New York. Let's see if this will play for us. So just New York. It's New York City. I'm going to be, my next music type video I make, I think I'm going to call it Escape from New York. I got some other crazy New York stories here. It's just falling apart, that place. A lot of times throughout the years, I talk about, how we're leaving the age of Pisces, moving into the age of Aquarius. And this isn't me being a new ager or a witch or anything like that, but it's the same thing the Bible tells us, like the last age of man. It's just, there's different ways of saying it, and you see it all over the place. So, when you see a lot of the New Agers talk about it, that's why I'll bring it up. A lot of those people who are in the know of this stuff have been talking about this for a long time. That's the shift that's taking place. And here's an article about it. Astrologers explain why the second half of 2020 will be even more chaotic. And let me see if I could find... Astrologers have long understood that 2020 was going to be a year for the history books, although no one knew exactly how the tumultuous energy would manifest as far as real-world events go. First half of the year served up... Okay, see, I don't want to read all that. Somewhere in here, I saw earlier, they were talking about moving into the age of Aquarius. Let's see. Yeah, I don't like to read all this gobbledygook. Oh, there it is. The Great Conjunction in the Age of Aquarius. People have been talking and singing about the dawning of the Age of Aquarius for decades now, and many astrologers believe that the monumental Great Conjunction taking place on December 21st, 2020 is the cosmic event that's officially heralding it in. On that date, the two largest planets in the solar system, Jupiter and Saturn... Excuse me one second. Okay, sorry. There's a storm out, so I opened the back doors, and then forgot my heater was on. So, really important stuff. But anyway, so sorry about that. So both Jupiter and Saturn represent social issues in our lives and relate to authority and leadership, and they only form a conjunction aspect every couple decades. When they do, it's a big deal, which is why it's known as the Great Conjunction. This is the standout cosmic event of the latter half of 2020. Anyway, I won't read all the rest of this. Here it says this. In December of 2020, we are in for the beginning of a new age, as Saturn and Jupiter will be aligning in the sign of Aquarius. There you go. This alignment is so significant because it means we'll continue to have these two planets come together in air signs until 2059. So I'm not going to read all the rest of this gobbledygook, but I did want to show you, give you a reference point to some of this. We talk about stuff like that. This is just happened recently, November 21st, 3 days ago. This is Joe Biden celebrating his birthday party. Not wearing masks, people. Not wearing masks. I can't believe this.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Okay, we get it. Your new president right there, ladies and germs. Maybe. It's looking more like it. I don't know, man. You know, I keep up with all different kinds of news stories, but I don't try to just stick with one thing, and certainly never get stuck in that whole the show going on with the election. But we'll see. You know, if you do, it's going to give you a heart attack, raise your blood pressure. I wouldn't recommend it. And so much of it is fabricated anyway, so it's hard to really know what's what. So just write it out. We'll see. You know, it seems to change day to day. This is really huge news. U.S. retailer Guitar Center filed for bankruptcy. Owns nearly 300 stores across the country. Guitar Center filing for bankruptcy. That's huge. Sad, too. I mean, all the industries have been killed in so many ways. And, of course, live shows and live events. When are those going to be a thing again, right? It's crazy, though, because I'm also a big fan of arts and artists and, you know, filmmaking and music. And I like all the I like all of those arts. And it just sucks to see stuff like this. There's so many people out there that, you know, this won't be the death of music, right? But I mean, in a totalitarian, one world antichrist run system, there probably won't be much room for any kind of entertainment anyway, or at least anything that'll really benefit you. Most of it will be mind control, I'm sure. I imagine there'll be lots of virtual reality, lots of people in their homes, all connected. What's this? Oh, well, mainstream news. More thumbs down than thumbs up. Officials expect 20 million Americans to be vaccinated for the C-19 by December. And this is from November 22nd, just a few days ago. So let's see what mainstream media has to say about this.
Virus vaccines. U.S. officials expect to have enough doses of the Pfizer and Moderna vaccines by the end of the year to vaccinate some 20 million people. But there are still plenty of questions to be answered. Joining us now is the Dean of Brown University's Medical School, Dr. Rajesh Shah. Thanks so much for being with us. First, let's address a major issue here. People are skeptical. Recent polling suggests that 58% of Americans say they are willing to take the vaccine. Is that enough? And what, if anything, could help change some of these minds?
Yeah, so good morning, Yvette. Thanks for having me.
Help change those minds.
We will want 70 to 80% of Americans ultimately to get vaccinated because that's what's really going to help drive the level of infections way down. So I think what we have to do is explain to people that the process we've used to develop the vaccine has been done with incredible scientific integrity. And I think once people see the data and see their neighbors and friends getting vaccinated, I'm hoping more and more people will get comfortable with the idea of getting themselves and their families vaccinated as well.
I also want to talk about schools this morning. There's been a lot of debate during this pandemic about closing schools. Last week, New York City schools closed. Parents were really upset. They were raising the question, why is it safe for my child to eat indoors but not in school? Some are pointing to the numbers. Schools have a very low infection rate. But what advice do you have for these parents and for state officials who are trying to make these decisions?
Yeah, so these are hard decisions, but I think the evidence here is really clear. And the evidence is that schools should be open, at least K through 8. There's very little data that suggests that there's any spread happening in those schools. It doesn't make any sense to me that we have restaurants and bars open in places, but we don't have schools open. I think we should be flipping that. Keep schools open. And if you're going to close anything, close bars and restaurants first.
Now for those people who are going to be home.
Ugh, I just can't. I can't watch all of it. It's just not good for me. It's not good for anybody. But, you know, this is where you go to find out what the agenda is, you know, mostly what the narrative is they're pushing. Mysterious humanoid UFOs seen changing shape hovering over the town of Joshua Tree. It's from UFO OVNI 2012. Flying humanoid. Got another one. Check it out. This one's pretty wild. You know, we love our flying humanoids around here.
It's coming closer.
Whatever the hell it is, it's coming closer. I couldn't tell you what the hell it is.
It's a flying humanoid. Shifting.
Alright, I got you.
There we go. Closer view.
Absolutely no clue what that thing is.
Flying humanoid. Chinese president proposes global health QR code system to revive crown virus battered trade and travel. So, of course, just another control mechanism. Yes, of course. Thanks, President Xi. Here's something I saw over on Paul's channel, Pockets of the Future. So I figured I'd share this. It was a good catch. I think someone sent it to him too. But it's Millie Bobby Brown. She's the young lady. She's an actress that's in Stranger Things, where she got her start. And of course, she's grown out of that, and she's been in a lot of other things and whatnot. But she also does commercials for Samsung and Galaxy. And this is one of them. But it's just another example, even though it's not covered all the time the way it used to be, that this is still taking place. That these people still are signing off to that Hollywood beast system. They're still signing the contracts, signing the deals, going to the lodge, men and women, Eastern Star, witches. And this is little Millie Bobby Brown here.
Hi, come on in. I'm Millie, this is Winnie.
Here.
Okay, have yours.
You already saw how it started, of course. The all-seeing eye. What the heck? Floors. It won't let me turn the volume. The heck? Look at this. Okay. What is going on? So I'm trying to hit the volume and it won't let me. Anyway, you see the all-seeing eye, the obvious. Saw the checkerboard floor. I think it comes again here in a second. More of the checkerboard, more of the different personalities, more of the MK Ultra type stuff. And we see this in practically every video, mainstream big music video. It's been out, or at least every other for the last 10 years. He's got the checkerboard. There you go. I think that's about it. Wow. These people get really excited about these products. Okay, whatever. We got it. This made big news. You may have seen this. Florida man saves dog from alligator's mouth. Some scary stuff. The little doggy only had a single puncture wound, from what I read. Excuse me. What is this here? Okay. That's just something I was looking at, probably. Black Rifle coffee founders caved to the rage mob after Kyle Rittenhouse wore their t-shirt, Pools Blaze sponsorship. But it's more that cancel culture, I told you. And, it's people frame it again. It's they're just after Republicans and conservatives. But it's, first the statues, then the churches, right? I mean, that's what it is. And that's that mentality we're seeing more and more. It's a cancel culture. Big time has been a cancel culture already here on YouTube. Big time against people on the right or conservatives, right? Some Christians in there as well. Many of these conservatives are Christians. Just more of this stuff. Every lie will be revealed. They're going to be shocked at the level of pedophilia and satanic worship. Linwood does not hold back an explosive interview. Let me see if I can bring a little bit of that up. Let's see. Is there a clip?
Without the use of discernment, so they'll understand more than what just they see at first glance. So the Supreme Court's being aligned. The Department of Defense was recently realigned by the president. Take a look at who he put in place: cyber terrorism and a terrorism expert. As I said, look at what he did in 2018 with the executive order to deal with foreign interference in our national elections. I think that, listen, in a perfect world, I'd like to see John Durham's report come out and people go to jail. I'd like to see the truth told.
Yes. Pretty short clip. Hopefully this is the one.
And I'd like for a lot of people to go to jail.
Yes.
I'd like to see what's on Hunter Biden's laptop. I'd like to see those people go to jail.
Yes.
I'd like to see what's on Anthony Weiner's laptop. I'd like to see a lot of people go to jail. And then when we get to the final phase of the election fraud, I'd like to see a lot more people go to jail. The one thing I will say, there'll be an intermingling. There'll be people going to jail, I believe, who are involved in all of those or some of those same investigations. So there is potentially a great awakening. The truth has to come out.
Yes.
I believe it will. I do not think that you can hide the truth. I do say it. I believe it. Every lie will be revealed. This country is going to be shocked when it learns the truth about who's been occupying the Oval Office for some periods of years. They're going to be shocked at the level of pedophilia. They're going to be shocked at what I believe will be a revelation in terms of people who actually engage in satanic worship.
Boom. There it is. And that's what we've been telling people for years. And I've been saying it for a long time as well. That'll be the final big exposure. It's when the world finally sees who's really been running things, mostly. At least the spirit behind it all. When it becomes a lot more obvious. It's right here on the doorstep now. My last video was about that. Here's the new cover of The Economist. This one's been covered a lot throughout the years. Not this particular one, but The Economist covers because of its connection to some of these occult organizations. We know they like to work with storyboards or sigil magic, putting things out through pictures, through animation, through movies, through TV shows, through commercials, through logos, whatever. But putting real information out before it happens. Events, rituals, which usually lots of people lose their lives in, or there's lots of destruction. Here's the new one. You got Bo Jiden. You got the mask face, got the vax scheme there. You got to love how they made it green and scary looking. They made it look like what it is. They made it look like poison, like something dangerous. Got the crown virus above that. Got a nuke. We got a nuke. We got a nuke over here. Got the fires and, just some other rando stuff. TikTok there. We'll see. We shall see. Huge sun symbol on the front of the game, of course. These people are all Luciferian anyway. But there's that. There's the cover of the magazine. Trump is no longer the problem. His army of followers is. This is from Slate, MSN.com. Once again, just telling you, this is where you see the tides really turning. And there's a lot of stories like this. This is from 4 days ago. This is just one. It's no longer Trump, you know, no matter what, he's gone, whatever. And they still go after Trump too, even after this. Now it's his army of followers. You see, again, it's another example of kind of that divide. Them versus us. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo wins Emmy for masterful use of television to inform and calm on the pandemic. You gotta love that. I told you, even he knows it's a joke. It's a joke. And these satanic awards, anyway, some of these awards shows International Emmy Founders Award for Governor Cuomo for being such a wonderful hack. Such a wonderful mouthpiece. Oh, wow. Love this video too. This is great. It's 5 minutes. We'll probably watch most of it because it's totally worthy. This just came out November 20th. So even on this channel, it's got 700,000 views, over 700,000 views. It's on Real Tim Walton YouTube channel. And this is Buffalo, New York business owners stand up to Cuomo lockdown orders. They chase out the sheriff and the health department. This is the way people do it. People wonder, what can we do? How do we fight back? These guys and gals, they just showed us.
Property, you need to leave.
We're asking to build your compassionate side. I know you're a taxpayer. You know, our tax dollars get into your guys' paychecks. So some of these people actually work for their money, and they don't want to lose their livelihood. I've lost friends, I've lost family who've killed themselves. I've seen clients die because they've lost their livelihood.
And I'm sorry to hear that.
I know you are, and I'm asking for you to guys have some compassion for the people that have lost everything.
We do have compassion for people who.
Okay, well, you need to go have compassion out in the parking lot. But this is private property. This is private property. This is private property. It's private property. Go get a warrant. Listen, man, this is private property. They're not wanted here. So do your jobs.
Well, his job is.
Well, no, your job is to remove people that are not wanted here. We're wanted here. They're not.
She's hiding her name tag. She had her
I'm
name
not.
tag.
It's right there. It's my
There we go.
They're just doing their job.
There we go.
You should all be wearing masks.
I'm not doing anything wrong.
Don't worry about my health. My health isn't your
You're
concern.
meant to be wearing a mask. It's a
Okay, well then write me up.
It's the law.
Okay, then take me to jail. Then take me to jail.
Not the law.
Show me the law. Show me the law.
It is not the law.
You have to leave. You guys have to leave. You have to leave.
Right now, you're trespassing without a warrant.
Mass civil disobedience starts now.
Trespassing.
You're not
You're
trespassing.
trespassing.
It doesn't matter. We have a right to be.
Then get a warrant. Go get a warrant. Go get a warrant. Yes, you do.
Come back with a warrant or leave.
Don't write the law.
So you can walk on any property with no warrant? Go get a warrant. You guys are breaking the law right now. You're breaking the law. Go outside. No, go on your phone outside. Go on your phone outside.
I would really like it if
Where
you
did
stopped
you go to
shouting at
report
me.
from?
I
Okay, we didn't have to break the law. We would tell you like
Leave. Who reported it?
Go leave.
Who reported it? Who reported it?
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
it's anonymous, right? It's
Yes, it
anonymous.
is.
They
But it's a
can't be
legitimate
anonymous.
complaint.
You need to
It
know
can
your
be,
accuser. You need
that's
to know. It
not-
cannot
Okay,
be
well, you
anonymous.
gotta go get a warrant.
It
It's not
cannot be
how health
anonymous.
department.
You
You
gotta
gotta
do
go get a warrant.
You
gotta go get a warrant.
You
It's
don't get to
code
violate the
enforcement.
Constitution. It
This
does
isn't
not
the
matter.
same
You
as
don't
that.
circumvent or subvert the Constitution.
Call the news.
That's the way it
News here
works.
too. Call the news. Okay, Miss, you need to leave.
Get out! 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 Get out!
No, now we gotta get off the property. We
don't
gotta
want
leave.
them
Off
off
the
the
property.
property. Just
Off the
because the
property.
Black Lives Matter
You guys aren't
protest.
welcome.
Turn your head.
You're not welcome here.
This is the Black Lives
You
Matter
guys
protest.
gotta
Turn
go
your
to the
head.
road. You gotta go to the road.
We will not comply. We
We
will not comply. We will not comply. We
We will not comply. We will not comply. This is a protest, guys. We do not have to disband. It is a protest. This is a lawful protest. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply. We will not comply.
To the road. To the road. And they are breaking the law.
How about this? Isn't this beautiful? It's beautiful.
The New Age Nazis is what they are.
Every county sheriff show up. We had this Department of Health Minister show up here. This is their vehicle. This is their vehicle.
That's how people do it. Nonviolent, non-compliance.
Take your commie shit elsewhere. Leave.
There you go. That's how you do it, man. LGBT activist compares Christians who don't accept homosexuality to wapists and Holocaust deniers. I do this on purpose. I've seen people in the comments ask if I have a speech impediment. No, this has to do with the YouTube algorithms and censors. It's very real. It's very real. I would have thought it was dumb too if I didn't know any better and just came into a show and heard someone calling Bo Jiden. Oh, what's this guy? Dyslexic? Hey, you know? No, there's a reason. There's a method to the madness. And also it really is a reflection of the madness we're in. Just when it comes to trying to share a story or tell the truth about something, or at least your version of the truth, what you believe is the truth. Especially if that truth doesn't line up with the narrative, the mainstream narrative. So they actually have algorithms and they check your words and they get rid of channels just like that. Boom. You know, it's a crazy space to be in. So even on that note, if you're interested to follow my work in the future, you know, I never plan to be gone, but you never know. Check the links below. I've got links to my BitChute, also my website, which is most important. May bookmark these sites just in case. BitChute, Minds. I have an Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all that stuff. It's all out there anyway. There you go. But we know this. But see, that's another part of it. This is something that's going to be a part of that, the New Age, one world religion as well. And it'll be sold as love, right? Hey, anything goes. You want to be with a kid? Sure. Hey, why not? The kid loves you. Kid's okay with it. Gave consent. All right. Hey, go for it. Why not? Love is love. Oh, you're against that? Oh. That's not going to work out so well for you. How about this? It's from 4 days ago. Grow your own human steaks meal kit is not technically cannibalism, the makers say. Yeah. Getting ready for those food shortages when I see stories like this. The saying, you are what you eat, may soon become a lot more literal. A do-it-yourself meal kit for growing steaks made from human cells was recently nominated for Design of the Year by the London-based Design Museum, named the, get this, Ouroboros steak. Right in front of our face, right? The symbols. Named the Ouroboros steak after the circular symbol of a snake eating itself tail first. The hypothetical kit would come with everything one needs to use their own cells to grow miniature human meat steaks. People think that eating oneself is cannibalism, which technically this is not. Grace Knight, one of the designers, told Dazine magazine. It's delicious. Look at that. Look at these pictures. Look at that. some more. Yummy. Mouth watering, right? Seriously, you look at that, your mouth just starts kind of watering at the corners. You're like, hey, that looks so good. Get some of that in my mouth. Yeah, yummy. Soylent Green. Another example of mirror world, right? Soylent Green. Oh, this is a creepy Bass Pro commercial. Check this out.
Family traditions mean everything, especially this year. We warmly invite your family to join us for free photos with Santa at our reimagined Santa's Wonderland. Enjoy a contactless visit thanks to our Magic Santa Shield, along with extra enhancements to keep everyone safe this holiday season. Reserve a free time online and check in on your smart device. Our elves will be wearing face coverings and cleaning all surfaces between each visit with physical distancing that provides
Gosh, doesn't this look like fun? I'm putting this in a video. I've got to put this in a music video.
Reservations are limited, so make yours today.
Gosh, that looks like fun. This is going to be so nice, guys.
Contactless
visit with Santa. Oh, my goodness. All right. I've already got that saved. That's a good one. Crazy chaos. Corvallis residents react after Tesla crash sent batteries and car parts flying into nearby homes. I may have covered this on the last show, but just in case, I thought this was a pretty crazy story.
Well, there was a wild wreck in Corvallis this morning. Police say a man was under the influence of marijuana when he crashed his Tesla, sending car parts flying into several nearby homes. Fox 12's Kendra Kent has the story.
It is dark now, but this area right here was a big mess. Even earlier today, there was a wood chipper here. They were cleaning up trees. There's car parts everywhere here. We saw several batteries. And then take a look at that hole there in the side of that apartment. That's where that tire went flying, smashing in and breaking their water line. We also spoke to a man who says a battery flew through his window and hit his arm. A wrecked Tesla became a launching pad for fiery projectiles after a high-speed crash sent hundreds of batteries flying.
It was a really scary-looking wreck.
Corvallis police say the driver, 21-year-old Dylan Malota, was stoned and going more than 100 miles an hour Tuesday night when he lost control, hitting two trees.
I don't know what kind of weed makes you go 100 miles an hour. It's usually the other way.
Serious charges, but somehow wasn't badly hurt.
It's a lot of crazy chaos.
It was chaos that extended well beyond the road and shoulder, including right into Everett Bizzurdo's lap.
I was just sitting in my chair watching television. I jumped up because a piece of the car, it's a cylindrical piece, and it fell in here.
It was one of those batteries, and it left a burn mark on Bizzurdo's arm, smoldered his chair, and even damaged his floor. And that's all after it came crashing through the front window.
I was fortunate that this took the major blow.
Across the street, another neighbor ended up with much more of a mess.
Somebody had a tire come crashing through their wall.
This gaping hole left behind after the Tesla's tire broke the water line, flooding this apartment. And just next door, another broken window. The culprit, another flying battery. The family here did not want to go on camera, but gave us these photos, telling us the hot battery started a fire in a son's bed. Fortunately, he was not sleeping there at the time. Wednesday afternoon, cleanup continues, and it's not hard to find more batteries. We found 4 of them ourselves while filming. Police are warning people not to touch or pick them up, saying the heat can last for hours and the batteries can also be toxic.
Wow.
Police say the suspect then left after the crash, but they were able to track him down just a few blocks away. They say he was taken to the hospital for treatment, but he was not badly hurt in the wreck. He is facing several charges tonight, including DUI, hit and run, criminal mischief, reckless driving, and reckless.
What about these Tesla cars that are filled with fiery projectiles? Stop the tires 2020. Truck drivers planning a strike. Cancel the movement. Remember, we saw that video on one of the shows here maybe a week and a half ago. Whereas it was a compilation of a lot of these truckers talking about this coming. It's supposed to be, I think, November 29th. Looks like it's over. A group of truckers were attempting to plan a strike for the end of November, but that movement has been placed on hold. Since its creation earlier this month, some 75,000 people who say they are truckers have joined a Facebook group called Stop the Tires 2020. The group also was attempting a strike around Veterans Day, which didn't happen. But Stop the Tires 2020 creator was backed away from calls for a work stoppage, saying now is not the time. He discusses in a vlog how the overwhelming growth of the Facebook group took him by surprise and thrust him into a position of leadership he had not anticipated. Yeah, I'm sure that freaked him out, especially when the mainstream media starts calling him a right-wing terrorist and things like this, or a supremacist. Another group called Trucker Strike 2020 says it was created long before C-19 and the election, and that it's a nonpartisan group. Its sole purpose is to help create changes made within the industry to benefit truckers. Please bear in mind that this page is nonpartisan and does not support any political party, the creator wrote. I would like to stress that this page is non-political. He's probably already ducking because he knows he's going to get the hate mob going to come knocking on his door. Anyway, I guess that's canceled for now. Here is the latest dream from Dana Cornerstone. If you don't know much about him, you can check him out. Dana Coverstone YouTube channel. He's a pastor. It's had, 7 or 8 or so prophetic dreams now. His earliest ones were before the virus and some of this stuff, and a lot of it seems to be coming true. Judge for yourself, but this is his latest. We'll play a little bit of this here. It's 10 minutes long. I don't want to play the whole thing, but we'll play for a little bit.
Hey, you're going to go into the second dream I had. Some people may say, well, why'd you change your shirt? There's a lot of people looking at the past videos and saying, okay, what color was the shirt when you did this and that? Once again, my friend Jay has helped me to get some branding up so we can actually know what's going on when the dream was, or when I had it. So they're doing that for clarity and things like that. Once again, it's a historical dream. I've had several. There's one dream that I've not released. I'm going to be sharing, working with Cherie Goff this coming Thursday to share it, put it out there. It goes back to one I had in September about ships in Normandy. And once again, prayer is the focus of it. And I do believe that one of the reasons God is giving me the dreams is to call the church back to prayer, to call the church out to get ready in the times in which we live. And that's what it's about. So here's the dream that I had. This is the dream that I had on November 16th, 2020. Features Benjamin Franklin. I saw Benjamin Franklin outside at night flying a kite among very stormy skies, lightning in the background, strong winds, and a very, very light rain. But the kite was an American flag. And that American flag seemed to be covered in a type of oil, or at least it had like a greasy sheen on it. At the end of the kite was a globe, a small globe, attached to a chain, almost like a keychain you would have, okay? So hanging off of the flag, off the kite, wasn't a key like Benjamin Franklin used when he first did, his search for electricity and things like that, and how what wasn't lightning. It was just a globe attached to a chain at the end of the kite. Franklin was holding the kite very steady in the rain. He was watching the lightning around him with very wide open eyes. He was paying attention where the lightning was, obviously anticipating a strike on something. Suddenly his hand appears out of the heavens, and it grabs the flag and it squeezes. The hand squeezes around the flag in a very rough manner. It's just like this, grabbing and squeezing, almost violently. And the globe was hanging like underneath his hand. You couldn't see the flag in the hand of God who was squeezing the flag, but there was a chain running out and down, and the globe was hanging out. And so as the hand was squeezing, the globe was shaking. That globe was hanging in his hand, and flowing out of that squeezed hand was that mix of like oil and water. It was a sheen. It was just like a sheen you would see on an ocean if there's been an oil spill on a body of water. And as it squeezed out of the hand, the big hand, it just kind of rolled over the globe and fell back to the earth. And the rain and the lightning behind it was illuminating. It was like something. It was like oil was coming from heaven instead of rain because of the sheen that was on the flag. The hand kept squeezing, rolling back and forth like this. Squeezing and rolling back and forth with the flag inside. There was sifting going on inside that hand. You could hear things like shifting and sorting and moving in the hand. And then the rain stopped. And the hand opened up to reveal several large, and I do mean large, diamonds. There were large chunks of what appeared to be coal. That's what it looked like to me, large chunks of coal. But there was also a lot of trash in that palm, almost like, and it almost was covering the diamonds. And then God reached down and just went with his hand, with his breath, and a lot of that trash just went flying away from his hand. And the only thing left in his hand was the diamond and the coals. And then he lowered his hand to the earth and he rolled out the items in his hand. And the diamonds were about the size of vehicles, and the coal pieces were about the size of large boulders. The coal was not as big as the diamonds. And they were each laying on this beautiful, green, luscious, healthy-looking grass. And the diamonds, they were shining in the brilliance. It was still night. It was still night. It wasn't daytime now. It was still night. The rain had stopped. It was still dark. But the coal had no shimmer, had no glory about it. It just stood out, though, in great contrast to the diamonds. But you could see that they'd been squeezed, but had not made the cut.
All right, I'll stop there because it's still got 6 more minutes. You can watch the whole thing if you're interested here. It's called The Franklin Dream, November 16th, 2020. Also, let me make a quick point here because I get people leave me angry emails, angry comments, thinking that every single thing I show you guys I sign off on, or I'm a part of it, or I'm with this or that. No, man, these are just, it's a collection of things I think are interesting I noticed throughout the week as I'm working on my videos. And I've created it into a show. So I don't know this and that with some of these. I showed a video with somebody from Sid Roth, had all these, I can't believe you support Sid Roth. I'm like, what? Wait, calm down. So maybe you're new around here. I don't know, but just calm down, relax. Okay. Take a breath or two. It's going to be all right. I'm just showing you things of interest for you to consider. Kurt Russell, one of my favorite actors, really. As a kid growing up, some of my favorite movies were Kurt Russell movies. Escape from New York, of course. And Snake Plissken. And what was the one about where he was in Chinatown? You guys know the name. I forget now off the top of my head. He's been in tons of movies. Always seems like a cool character. And when I read this story, to me, it really is that divide between old Hollywood and new Hollywood. And I'm not saying Kurt Russell's a great guy. Again, I don't know. I don't know if he's part of the lodge. But I'd like to think that some of these people out there, I don't know who, but some of them are with the Lord. They're not a part of the lodge, that God has good people in every industry and every area of this beast system to try to shed light, to try to be a voice. So, of course, there's going to be plenty of us among the wolves out there as well. So I don't know. But this really is that divide between old Hollywood and new Hollywood. The most old Hollywood didn't run around making their political statements all the time. But new Hollywood, I mean, look at Saturday Night Live. Look what it's morphed into, how terrible it is. It's a propaganda tool. That's all it is now. It's a leftist propaganda tool. It's what it's been that way for years. All the way back to Tina Fey making fun of, what's her name out there in Alaska? I mean, those are some of the biggest stories I remember back then is, oh my gosh, Tina Fey last night on SNL. And it's all just so gross. Just entertain us. How about comedians be comedians again and just be funny and entertain us? The good old days.
Time now for Finding the Bright Side. Part of the
The Atlantic stuns with feature accused of cheering eugenics, promoting murder of Down syndrome babies. Wow. Here, let's see if this is the story.
show where we highlight the feel-good news that might have gotten missed today. And she wanted people to really look at them as human
Yeah, let's check it out.
beings and individuals who have. First, a photographer seeking to raise awareness for Down syndrome in the cutest way, a photo shoot with special needs children posing as Disney characters. Joining me now, Independent Women's Forum visiting fellow Kelsey Bowler and Inside Edition correspondent Megan Alexander. Welcome to both of you.
It's great to be
Hi,
here.
Shannon. This is amazing. I love this. Megan, this is your story from Nicole Louise Photography. It's Nicole Perkins. She's a self-taught photographer. She does work with special needs children in education. She said, the story behind my images are to celebrate and help raise awareness for Down syndrome. So we want to show you the pictures, Megan, and let you tell us the story.
Yeah, Shannon, I love this one. Nicole Perkins found out, she's based in the UK, and she found out that termination rates are high in the UK for babies diagnosed with Down syndrome in the womb. And so she grabbed her camera and said she wanted to do something about it. And so she got together babies and children with Down syndrome and recreated 12 iconic Disney scenes. You see them here, everything from Elsa from Frozen, how precious is that? Beauty and the
Princess
Beast,
programming, Disney programming.
She's beautiful.
Let's get to the meat of the story, ladies.
She wanted people to see the kids that she, Well, Megan, you have to expect the unexpected was an long stay in the NICU.
Okay, looks like we're not going to get the story. So let's just bounce out of this. Go down here. The Atlantic shocked readers with a polarizing feature that's been accused of promoting the mass abortion of children who are determined to have Down syndrome through prenatal testing. Newsbusters managing editor Curtis Houck accused the Atlantic of cheering eugenics and the murder of people with Down syndrome simply because of how God created them to be. Everyone who works there should be ashamed, he wrote. The story by Sarah Zhang, headlined The Last Children of Down Syndrome, notes that prenatal testing is changing who gets born and who doesn't, and this is just the beginning. The Liberal magazine published the story on Wednesday, and it will appear in the December print edition. The lengthy story begins by noting the National Down Syndrome Association head is regularly asked about raising a child with Down syndrome. Sometimes the caller is a pregnant woman deciding whether to have an abortion. Sometimes a husband and wife are on the line, the two of them in agonizing disagreement, Zhang wrote. Once, Falt Hansen remembers it was a couple who had waited for their prenatal screening to come back normal before announcing the pregnancy to friends and family. We wanted to wait, they told their loved ones, because if it had Down syndrome, we would have had an abortion. Okay, we get it. We get this. We know. That's what it is. But it's ultimately, right, it's that hatred of humanity, and it's going to start somewhere, and it's always started under dictatorships in a lot of the same areas, and a lot of the same groupings of people were some of the first to go. And then when they were gone, there was another grouping of people, right? And it just continues until the only people who are part of the system are in the system. That's it. Woman attacked after argument over face masks in New York City subway. 60-year-old woman was assaulted by two suspects at Brooklyn subway station last Friday after she told the pair to wear face masks. The beatdown occurred just outside an elevator around 12:20 p.m. Before entering the elevator, the victim told the assailants, a man and a woman, that they could not ride with her unless they used face coverings. And see, this is what that system wants. I hate this. I hate it. This is what that system wants, right? Is us turning against each other. And this is a divisive tool, among other things. This whole mask agenda. And some people are falling prey to it. Some people are falling prey to the programming of it all. It's a program. Bill Gates says social media platform Parler's content has some crazy stuff. And of course, Parler is where a lot of people on the right, they say, are going. A lot of Christians are going. A lot of people in my comment sections tell me to move to Parler. But, you know, man, it's hard to know where to go sometimes these days with all these social media. Some of them I'm still not so sure about. Some of them are just buried and they'll never be found. Some of them may be part of a setup. And even if some of them are good that are out there, these bad forces are going to go after it. And we've seen these stories already. But these people aren't just going to leave people on the right alone, the so-called right alone. people who aren't a part of the agenda, they're not going to leave them alone. It's only going to increase. We're seeing it. I'm not just saying that. We're seeing it in the news and in the stories. I've showed some. I've got more. It's that divide in humanity, I tell you. It's the way I see it. So you're going to have this. You're going to have this in the mainstream. Bill Gates will be, and the others, all of them will be attacking any social media where people are still trying to have free speech against the agenda. We'll put it like that. Of course. Cancel culture gone insane. Basketball players want to cancel their employers over Trump. Just when you think the vindictiveness and viciousness of the American left have gone as far as it will go, with attacking people in the streets for wearing MAGA hats and with pushing children around at rallies, a story comes out that proves the mindset of the American left has just not devolved far enough to hit rock bottom yet. I was kind of saying that earlier anyway. A man who makes millions of dollars to play ball has gone out of his way to insult and degrade his own employer, threatening to get stompy foot and walk off the team because the owner supports President Trump. New York Post covered the story and reported the Houston Rockets are having one of the more tumultuous off seasons in the NBA. Both of their superstars, Russell Westbrook and James Harden, have already requested trades. One NBA insider said he believes it has to do less with basketball and more with owner Tim Fertitta's political views. Okay, we get it. We understand, but it's that divide that's taking place. That divide. Andrew Cuomo gets a massive pay raise. Wonk, wonk. Despite his obvious incompetence, of course. He looks like a monster, doesn't he? To me, he looks like a monster. I know you're not supposed to judge people by their looks, but he looks like a monster. Kansas middle school ends Operation Christmas Child after atheist complaint. The Kansas middle school has decided to stop its participation in a popular Christmas program that collects toys, school supplies, and hygiene products for needy children after an atheist organization told the school such an effort was unconstitutional. Okay, that's all I need to know. You know, the battle is real. New York MTA, this is the subway. New York subway warns a 40% cut, shedding 9,300 jobs. So New York is falling apart, man. I lived in New York. I'll say I had the pleasure of living in New York City for almost a year in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, with my cousin, who was a musician. At the time, he was a graphic designer. He worked in New York for some companies out there. And I was out there for quite a while and worked mainly with Fangoria, the horror company Fangoria, and then a little bit with Trauma Team and some other low-budget horror companies out there. But I was a production assistant. You know, I carried stuff around. I did some work on their website. We had a Fangoria TV, just keeping it updated and things like that. No, I'm not from the lodge. I didn't sign a deal with the devil. People have written me and asked me, because of your background in the industry, are you sure you're not one of them? People. I always say, just judge me by my fruits. And I've got plenty of fruits. For almost 14 years, on and off YouTube, you can find things I've been doing, videos, shows, whatever. Nestle rebrands a popular candy so it's no longer racist, decides instead to name it after a monstrous serial killer, Wapist. This is honk honk world. Nestle, which owns candy giant Allen's, decided to rename their popular candy known as Redskins because, you know, the name is problematic these days. Somehow, with all the personnel and resources at their disposal, the new name they came up with is Red Ripper, which happens to be this guy. Hi. If you're like, oh, that guy looks familiar, it's because he's one of the most infamous and monstrous serial killers of all time. The dude confessed to butchering 56 women and children, so the real number is certainly way higher than that, and the details of what he did are so stomach-turning that I can't even begin to describe them here. Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Mommy, can I have a Red Ripper? Oh, This is from, I usually don't do this, but one of my subscribers sent this to me, asked if I would give him a shout out. I said I would. He has a GoFundMe here. You can look it up. It's under police officer with brain injury, Michael Kirby. And here's the story right here. If you'd like to help him out, he served as a police officer for 16 years. And then he was injured multiple times over the last 6 years. So he just isn't needed help. So I told him I'd throw it out there. There you go. If you're interested, guys, check it out. Michael Kirby, police officer with brain injury. There you go. Wow, here we go, guys. And more news on the food shortages, the forced food shortages. The most sought after real estate is the space between your two ears. Why let fear outweigh reason? This is from Grace, really graceful on Twitter. New Mexico governor shuts down grocery stores for 2 weeks. There you go. There it is. Look at this. New president, Bo Jiden. A dozen grocery stores around the state have been forced to close for 2 weeks because of a public health order issued by Governor Michelle Grisham at a time when the state's residents are suffering from record high unemployment and food insecurity. The order requires businesses with 4 or more rapid responses of C-19 cases reported within a 14-day period to close for 2 weeks. These people are monsters. They don't even care about their people. It's my opinion. Like they're rushing the breakdown. Let's see if hey, there we go. Gosh. Gotta love it. At least it worked. Let's see if this next one will work. Oh, this is televangelist Kenneth Copeland. This guy is just one of the creepiest TV preachers ever. Lots of videos of, you can say, shape-shifting with him. Lots of videos of his eyes turning into slits and being slits. And he's just an overall creep, in my opinion. He's not helping.
The media said Joe Biden's president.
He's pushing that Kundalini spirit with this stuff, too. You could look up videos on this. It's out there.
The media said what?
You can find some videos of a lot of these famous preachers being involved in this kind of laughing hypnosis. He'll get the whole church just rolling in laughter. People do, just losing their minds. And it's tapping into that Kundalini. This is from Vancouver. It's a Vancouver convoy and freedom rally, November 21st and 22nd. I always like to see these things where the people are standing up, getting involved, and here we go. Check some of this out.
We're the free world.
Keep on rocking in the free world.
The tagline of my channel is "Keep on rocking in the free world." So here I am with a bunch of freedom-loving patriots, and we're gonna have a yes, free hugs.
We ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it anymore. So there ain't no way we'll lose it. But this is our life, and there's a song. We'll fight the fight with a chance. I don't think I'll get nothing done. You don't know what. Whoa, say it! We're right, we're free, we'll fight, we'll sing. We ain't gonna take it. We're not gonna take it. Should our drama teacher again? I'm here for freedom and liberty because we don't have enough patriotism in Canada. And everybody here is a patriot for being here, so thank you.
Isn't that great to see? Hey, you guys want to share some of that? Some people are standing up, right? Not everyone's just watching from the sidelines. Fox News crashes, viewers cut in half in 3 weeks. CNN beating Fox now in daytime viewers. Might as well. It's all the same. Who cares anymore? This mainstream media, legacy media. Let it die, please. Let it rot. MSNBC beats Fox in every primetime slot but Tucker. I heard something recently because a lot of us wonder how does this legacy media even stay afloat when so many people hate it and get it and are against it. And you can look this up for yourself and just let us know if you want to put it in the chat or something or in the comment section. But something I heard is that China apparently buys lots of ads on CNN and some of these other, of course, mainstream American media, and that helps them stay afloat. You ever heard anything about this, that China buys a lot of ads into these companies? I wouldn't be surprised. Anyway, Fox News is collapsing and it deserves it. Turned on its base. I mean, of course, it always had issues. I've talked about it forever. But it was about the only mainstream source in America you can go to and maybe get 40, sometimes 60% truth in a story. Maxine Waters, we should send a message across the world by investigating Trump or criminal Trump. So I told you it's not going to end. You know, they're going to keep going after him. Okay, this is from Tamara Desiree Magdalene Lioness of the Yeshua YouTube channel. Been subbed to her for a while. She's really good at capturing things I'm really interested in. And it's one of the subjects that so many people, no matter how awake they are, can still have some trouble with, but it's some of the shape-shifting stuff. And I attribute a lot of that to people like David Icke pushing these goofy narratives and other people out there who've pushing reptilians and beings from another world and all this other stuff. And no, I mean, you can look in the Bible and find out all about the serpent races, the serpent race. Tares, beings that wheat and chaff, they look like us, act like us, talk like us, but they're not us, they're something else. Some of these people you can look at as having a demon on them or in them. And every now and then it shows. You know, something shows. We get to see a little bit beyond the veil in some cases. She's done really good, I think, with capturing a lot of this. The reason I bring her up is I was watching that show a few days ago, Paranormal Caught on Camera. They had another good video, and it was of this young man that the people in his village said could shapeshift. And he would shapeshift in front of camera and form fangs. And you'd hear him even growling like a wolf before he did it and things like this. I know some people say, oh, but that, yeah, it's CGI, and it's deep fakes. And no, there's some things out there. It's not all just fabricated and created by a computer generated. Sometimes there's real events and real things happening. And So I didn't know where to find that video. I was trying to find it, to try to find this footage to show you. And then I saw that this young lady put up this video called Try Explaining This Shape-Shifting Performance. I watched it. It's pretty crazy, pretty wild. So look at that slit right there she captured, huge slit eye. Look at that. I mean, there it is right there. It's a performance on one of America's most popular reality shows. But turns out she captured the same thing. She put it right here at the very end. I started laughing when I saw that. I'm like, it's exactly what I've been looking for. So she captured it. And we'll play some of this for you. This is really wild. But you decide. Okay.
Abre a boca, quero ver lá o fundo dos maxilares, tudo. Vamos, abre. Agora vai, faz a tua magia aí para sair os dentes. Não vi bem, faz de novo.
When I watched another version, there's a translation, they were saying, he said it makes him tired when he does this kind of stuff. Which is interesting. You see that in every movie you've ever seen. When they use their powers, they get tired, right? A lot of them. There was more footage than that. That's good footage, but there was, on that show, they even showed a couple other examples, which were just crazy, man. But like I said, you can judge for yourself. This is not the same young man, by the way, in case you're wondering, that was on this show. But this guy was doing all kinds of weird shape shifting, and his eyes, of course. And you got the slit. And so, yeah, she added that in the end. But it's a good capture. Maybe I can find more footage on this young man doing this. And we'll show it to you next time. This is interesting. The computer repairman in Delaware went underground, and Hunter Biden laptop saga gets even stranger. Excuse me. Weeks before the November 3rd presidential election, the world's political intrigue turned to a Wilmington computer repair shop after the New York Post revealed that its owner gave a copy of a laptop hard drive he believed belonged to Hunter Biden to a lawyer representing Rudy Giuliani. 10 days after the election, a sign on the repair shop's door said it had been closed. A neighbor said the owner had left town. A slew of information has surfaced in the weeks since, including details about the laptop's journey from the repair shop to Giuliani's office. Yet with fears of fake news flooding the nation's consciousness and Giuliani's resistance to share the source material, it remains unclear whether the emails purportedly found on the hard drive and which form the basis of the disputed New York Post story are authentic. Okay, right, we got that. Point is, this guy went underground, which I don't blame him. And maybe he's being protected by the government as well. There's always that option. You see that I'm using an ad blocker. All right, let's try this. Yeah, this is, the headline says it all. You can have cocaine and heroin, but not turkey. Oregon Governor Brown is slammed for telling people to snitch on neighbors violating COVID rules this Thanksgiving, weeks after a Democrat state decriminalized all drugs, even hard drugs. The hard stuff. There you go. It's more of that hypocrisy. Daily Mail really is the worst when it comes to ads. Tons of them. New York City setting up checkpoints for the holidays to enforce quarantine rules.
With us, Professor of Preventative Medicine.
New York City, man, falling apart. New York City Sheriff's Office will have teams out in force as the holidays approach to make sure people are complying with the state's quarantine rules. Just the headline. New York City going bonkers. New York City sees 6-hour lines for C-19 testing ahead of Thanksgiving. Just the lemmings. Look at the lemmings. Look at this. I don't know about you. I would never get tested for this. Getting their system that way. Following their orders, proper social distancing. There you go. Reminds me of looking at a lot of the information about the chip coming 5-6 years ago, and even back then thinking, and we've seen it since, stories come out about this, that it's not even that so many people are going to be against it. There'll be people begging for what's coming. There'll be people begging for the vaccine. There'll be people begging for cool digital tattoos, as transhuman agendas or transhuman aspects that connects you to the internet or whatever it's going to be, right? People will be begging for things like that. This one right here, you gotta love it. This is again Honk Honk. Welcome to Clown World. Florida woman charged in a machete attack wanted to be with man's wife, deputies, and this is the woman. This is apparently someone who identifies as a woman named Alana Gibson. A Florida woman savagely hacked a man with a machete in his own bedroom during a psychotic attempt to convince his wife to run away with her, authorities said. Alana J. Gibson, in the picture, 27, of Venice, is facing charges of attempted murder, armed burglary, battery, and fleeing to elude after Sarasota County deputies responded to the couple's home just after midnight, found a shattered bedroom window. Gibson, who worked with the man's wife, broke into the Venice residence and attacked the male victim with a machete as he was asleep. The main thing is that, just look, this is the woman. This is the world we're in now. It's a woman. No, it's not. It's a man. Not for, what? Are you a racist? It's a woman, clearly. He identifies as a woman. She identifies as a woman. That's the world we're in. It's crazy. That's it. It's a nut. A nutter. Cool UFO video time. Got quite a few. Some good ones, too. Check this one out. This is really wild. It totally shifts right in front of our face. Check this out.
Ya, amigo, no lo vas a poder creer, ¿no?
Now it's just an orb, right? So turned into this, just one of those weird blue hazes in the sky. We've seen a lot of those videos. And from this to that. Next up. I know I got some good ones here for you. This is a cool one too. Check this out. Kind of like the one in that guy's backyard. Seen this a lot too, haven't we? These strange lights in the sky. This is Vienna,
Warum zur Hölle
Germany.
ist hier überall dieses
So I've seen people, oh, those are just grow lights, man. It's nothing to be concerned with. No, this is a worldwide phenomenon. We've seen lots of examples over the last few years here. It's on this channel alone.
Ich meine, es ist im Video viel heller, als es eigentlich ist. Es ist so ein dunkles Orange eigentlich. Es ist aber 4 Uhr in der Nacht. What the fuck?
There you go. Language alert.
I had to get my belt and my phone because the battery in the other one was died. So I called all guys. I was just standing alone. I'm still going. It's time. It's time outside. It's flying over my head. It's directly above my head again. I turn around. This is a bit of a wider angle on it, so you can sort of see it a little bit better. Yeah, you can tell what all the dots. These guys are literally magnetic. They're fixed. If I go for a dive, I'll get some pictures. Put her in later on, but he's still going. He's still going. He's come back again. Again.
It's pretty good. UFO fleet in San Diego, California. Check this out. There's there's 2 different videos here, I believe. This isn't from Brazil right here.
Gente, olha o disco voador. Ele está lá ainda, no mesmo lugar.
Kind of reminds me of that angel footage from Pedro Aguila. You guys ever seen that from probably 10 to 12 years ago? It was at the very end of the scariest movie ever made, 2007. Just before it runs out, I put his clip in there. And it looked like 6, had to be massively tall, light-type beings floating in the sky and flickering. I mean, it was different than this, but the flickering kind of reminded me of that. All right, let's move on. Okay, totally switching gears now. This is from Project Veritas. And the video explains itself when it comes to a certain kind of FRAUD.
Raquel Rodriguez, how are you doing? This is James O'Keefe with Project Veritas. We have you on tape admitting to coercing voters and bribing voters with gifts. This is you on video telling someone who to vote for, which is a violation of federal law and state law.
Now, you know, I'm here. You chose a Republican, not a Democrat, right? You can vote for whoever you want. But our conversation that we had, you said you were voting for Hager because you were going straight Democrat. So that way you were voting for the straight Democrat. Is that what you want to do, correct? And she's like, well, yeah, you know what, you're right.
And then she changed, I mean, she was clearly voting for John Cornyn.
Do you think it's okay to change people's votes for them like you did with Ms. Do you think that's acceptable?
I refuse to talk to you right now.
You're on tape doing it. Do you not see that? Look at
This is what
this.
they asked me to say, so no.
Okay, but you actually did that.
I've got them.
Well, we're going to leave with you if you're going to leave. Because you bragged.
I don't want to talk.
You bragged that you and your partner go into polling booths with voters and sign an affidavit that you can enforce. Do you think that's legal?
That's a lie. You're lying.
I want the biggest candidate. Everybody's mad.
Which one's that?
I got the millionaire. A millionaire that's like, go do whatever you need to do. Here's all my credit cards. I don't take advantage of that. I tell everybody, I don't work for man, I work for God. And he knows what I need.
How many times have you done it before? That's not a joke, man. You're on tape and you've broken the law.
I didn't break any law.
How many times have you done this in the past?
Never.
I love your Michael Kors mask. Okay. She was a little shocked, I would say. Very shocked.
There we go. Gotta love people getting busted for being little snakes. Drew Barrymore's show. I didn't even know she had a show. Slammed after marrying teacher and his alleged former student. Yeah, of course. What could go wrong? Why not? It's mostly trash anyway. Television. Mostly trash, isn't it? I like Animal Planet sometimes. Speaking of Animal Planet. Yeah. Here we go.
We're lucky to be involved in your special day, and thank you.
Okay. Okay, I was hoping there would be more video than just this. Us having to read different video clips with some kind of a disco beat. I don't like it. Okay, we got it. Headline, got it. Pedophile targeted 5,000 kids by pretending to be a teen girl on Facebook. A serial British pedophile has admitted almost 100 offenses on children as young as 4, having posed as a teenage girl on Facebook to target more than 5,000 youngsters around the world. It's called catfishing. You heard of catfishing? Catfishing? It's a whole thing. It's huge. Lots of people catfish. There's even a TV show about it. David Wilson, 36, pleaded guilty Monday to 96 counts of child you-know-what abuse on 51 victims aged 4 to 14. Wow. So many that it took half an hour for the charges to be read to him in the court, in Ipswich Crown Court. Unbelievable. Yuck. Gross. But it's always good to see these creeps getting busted. Pennsylvania, Nevada certify Joe Biden as winner of the presidential election. This is from today, November 24th. So there it is. I don't know, man. What do you guys think? What are your thoughts? Does it matter to you? Some people don't even care. For those that do you think Trump will prove it? Think it's going to go to the Supreme Court? I don't think he'll ever quit or concede because these people fought against him for 4 years. And this guy seems to be a fighter. And I know this is beyond but it's all controlled, KJ. And I know, I get it. I understand this. I've talked about where it's all leading. Trump or Biden, either way, we know about the Great Reset. We already know what the plans are with the globalists. We see what's coming. Right? But either one of these guys are going to bring their fruits. Trump, just judging by his fruits, I would rather have a Trump if we had to have 4 more years of a president than a Biden, because that'd be basically the end anyway, a lot quicker. It'd still be coming, but perhaps, as I've said before, Trump is a bit of a reprieve. Michigan professor put on leave for calling C-19 a leftist stunt. Just the headline. We know that's out there. Pope Francis backs George Floyd protests, slams C-19 skeptics in his book. There you have it, guys. You already know. You already know when it comes to Pope Francis. We're not even surprised by this stuff with this guy. It's a joke. Ex-Texas teacher gets 20 years for sexually assaulting teen couple. Just wanted to show this creep right here. Letitia Lowery. Got some videos. Oh, this is just nuts. This is the Holocaust Museum in Florida, and now it features a George Floyd exhibit. Yeah, you heard me right.
The Holocaust Memorial Resource and Education Center is showcasing a new exhibit.
It displays powerful images taken after the death of George Floyd. As News 6's Ezzy Castro got a look at this exhibit and spoke to the photographer who captured moments he says he'll never forget.
When you walk inside the Holocaust Center in Maitland, you'll be able to see some of the faces of those who mourn the death of George Floyd, a black man who died in police custody in Minneapolis on Memorial Day. His death sparked protests across the city and around the country. The portraits captured by photographer John Noltner.
When George Floyd was killed, that happened 11.6 miles north of my house. And I knew, with a piece of my mind's goal being to hear voices that aren't always heard as well as they should be, I knew that I wanted to go up to that site.
Just days after Floyd's death, Noltner came to the site where dozens were gathering, many who were still trying to process the tragedy in their community. And he decided to capture the tears behind his lens.
What was the vibe? What was the feeling that you were feeling when you arrived to that location?
There was clearly pain and frustration and mourning happening, but it was a space that was open to anybody who wanted to show up and understand what was going on.
The exhibit shows 45 strangers, each of them sharing their own message to the world.
And one of the portraits that you can see here is the father of Michael Brown Jr., who was fatally shot by police in 2014 in Ferguson, Missouri.
So my goal is for people to simply come through the exhibit, to hear these stories, to look at these faces, and to...
We get it, Chief. Here's one from the files of people just going cuckoo, bonkers, crazy out there. And there are some people are definitely losing it. Here's a little something that recently happened on a flight, passenger flight.
I dropped my kid off to a dad, and the dad didn't even fucking get out. I didn't drop my kid off to a dad. Can you sit your naked self down, please? Fuck you. Fuck you, you're a 3-hour flight. I'm gonna fucking take 4-hour flight. Literally naked on an airplane. Oh my fucking god.
Yo, that's a.
Oh my god. I just want to be naked on an airplane, bitch. I've been on a flight. You spit on me. You literally just spit on me. No. Just spit on me. Oh my god. Please.
That's pretty much it. Goes dark from there. But yep, there you go. Cuckoo. Florida nurse blows the lid off of how the C-19 numbers are inflated via retesting. Man, isn't it nuts to just watch some of your news and just see how it's all these, the numbers are blowing up. It's going crazy. Where I live, it's a death knell. Our governor just shut down all bars and restaurants at 11 o'clock, at 11 p.m. So it's a death knell, man, for a lot of these people.
Going in Florida. I'm a nurse. I'm required to have testing every 2 weeks to go into the facilities that I go into. For starters, if you do the rapid testing and you test positive for antibodies, meaning you're not currently infected but may have been infected in the past, they have to report that as a positive case. If you test positive, go into quarantine, have your retest done in 2 to 3 weeks, whatever your place, requires. That's considered a second positive case. If I get a false positive from the rapid testing, then I have to go and have the rapid test done a second time. If that second rapid test is positive, then I have to go get the nose swab the third time. If all 3 come back positive, they consider that 3 positive cases. So all in all, I could have 5 positive cases for one person who may not even be positive.
Yeah, let that sink in. Let that sink in. Freedom-loving Jersey resident calls Governor Murphy a bad name for being out with his maskless family, of course.
Hey, how you doing? God, Murphy, how you doing? Such a dick. You're having fun with your family. In the meantime, you're having all kind of other bullshit going on at your house. Yeah.
No, I'm not drunk. As a matter of fact.
Put your mask on.
You can go fuck yourself. How's that?
Wait, you don't have a mask on.
You know why I don't need a mask? Because there ain't nothing fucking wrong with me. You're fucking right. Yeah, he doesn't like the Trump. Get the fuck out of here. Thank you. Thank you. Get the fuck out of here. You know what? You suck. Come on.
There you go. Just another one of these kings. Some of his peasants decided to step up. 2 workers at Shanghai Pudong Airport test positive for you know what. Chinese government locks 14,000 people in the basement for quarantine. And that's all we got. That's all the footage there is. This goes back to what I was telling you earlier. This is not going to end, even with Biden becoming the president of America. If that happens, Robert De Niro to Trump supporters, you should be very afraid.
Tell me, is anyone going to be able to convince him to concede? And why are so many Republicans still kissing the ring, among other things?
I don't know what logic they're using, except they're just afraid because. But they should be afraid of what's going to happen later when he's not around, and they're going to try and crawl back. The ones that would have the gall to try and crawl back. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, the ones like Lindsey Graham, forget it. I don't know what these people are thinking. I don't know. I didn't know it was that stuff. They would kowtow to someone like Trump, who is so obviously a sham, a bully. And now we see what's happening. And when I was so angry at him, just not being political or not being an activist, just angry at his behavior.
Well, he never actually said that, did he? That you should be very afraid. Maybe we missed that. I don't know. Or did he? I didn't catch that. Oregon governor suggests residents call cops on... Oh, we got that earlier. Barbecue restaurant in Portland that spoke out against Anfarta is burned to the ground. Of course.
A big portion of the back of the building is burnt and destroyed. And there's a large fire presence here, which is cool. But like, I just want to fucking puke right now in this city. It's fucking disgusting. Fuck.
That's it. First you blame white people, now you blame us. Asian parents revolt over end of meritocracy in California. Progressives all across America have declared war on Asians, meritocracy, and STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. Recently, the San Francisco Unified School District voted to replace their merit admissions process at Lowell High School, one of the best high schools in America, and also happens to be 61% Asian with a lottery-based system. When Asian American parents opposed the school district's plans to enact its new lottery system in late October, the school district blasted the parents by stating they were racist and responsible for the toxic culture at the school. Parents were accused of furthering the Asian supremacy agenda by making their children work so hard. Their children's achievements were demoralizing African American and Latino students. There it is. There it is. I showed y'all this a few weeks ago where Asian kids officially kicked out of students of color category in Washington School District. So the big deal for them, of course, is they lose lots of government benefits too. New York PD union tells New York subway riders you're on your own due to anti-cop policies. That's scary too. Scary things happen on those subways. I've been on those subways. No one ever messed with me or attacked me or anything like that, but they were scary. There's some weird people on these subways, I'll tell you. Weird people. And good people. It's a mix. Priest calls the police on mother of 11 praying in empty church without a mask. It's just, come on. Oh, it's a 48-minute long live stream. We don't want to listen to that. Oh, it's just something I was looking at. Sorry. Oregon pushes citizens to snitch on businesses and families who break the C-19 rules. Yep, seen that. We know. All right, let's see. Here's a little video. Let's check this out.
The utopian vision of free college tuition, the fantasy, completely ignores the known pitfalls.
In a rapidly changing world, we should have free tuition at public colleges and universities. That should be a right of all Americans, regardless of the income of their families.
If the liberal Marxist state rules over our system of higher learning, conservatism won't just be non-existent. Conservatives will be hunted down.
Here at Sprout Plaza has always been the heart of student activism at UC Berkeley. Just a few seconds ago, we heard some drumming stop here. Always a very active and lively place. Well, a few days ago, one activist found himself on the receiving end of some violence. This was the scene on Upper Sprout Plaza, a shoving match. And then a sucker punch. The man in black is the suspect UC Berkeley officers are looking for tonight. The man in the white cap on the receiving end of that punch is Hayden Williams, a volunteer from conservative group Turning Points USA.
Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez doesn't want people to forget the people who continue to enable you-know-who. In a tweet asking, is anyone archiving the you-know-who sycophants when they try to downplay or deny their complicity in the future? Do you foresee a decent probability of many deleted writings and tweets and photos in the future? Is she trying to make sure they are held accountable? Or is she sort of advocating cancel culture?
But this is a bit about archiving or making a list. Kind of reminds you of the Red Scare and McCarthyism.
And I think those people in his administration that not only drafted some of those policies, but were complicit in those policies shouldn't be forgotten. And I do think that people need to be held accountable for their actions. And I don't think it is reminiscent of McCarthyism at all.
I think you have to be specific about who you're going to target as collaborators.
What is their next job going to be, and what is it like going into the job market, not from a normal White House where typically you've got a lot of offers, but coming from the Trump White House?
The historian David Blight from Yale recently spoke about Trump and the GOP as the new Confederacy. Now, this was a very poisonous accusation. Think of it. First of all, a member of the party of the Confederacy is accusing the leader of the party of Lincoln of being a Confederate. But I think that what he was trying to do is sow the kind of hatred that makes Trump supporters into enemies of the country. And then this licenses, in the name of tolerance, believe me, a kind of wave of anger and retribution against these people, because they are seen not as critics, not as dissenters, not as people who are wrong, who need to be persuaded, but as enemies who have to be taken out.
As the Epic Times pointed out, Mitchell Langbert of the National Association of Scholars found that political registration by doctorate-holding professors in top-tier liberal arts colleges is overwhelmingly Democratic, with 39% of the colleges in his study being Republican-free. The study also found that political affiliation skewed heavily Democratic, with more than 78% of academic departments having no politically conservative representation.
During the 1960s and 1970s in the United States, students were being educated within the framework of Fabian and Frankfurt School socialism and cultural Marxism, with the heady mix of open sexuality and anything-goes societal upheaval. They gravitated to Frankfurt School demagogues such as Marcuse, heralded as the father of the New Left and the leading academic in the sexual revolution. He encouraged not only revolutionary militancy of groups like the Black Panthers and the Weather Underground, but also inspired widespread agitation, student unrest, and control of campuses. It's not surprising that these new ideas were eagerly internalized among the ranks of newly liberated young men and women at our colleges and universities. This was the precursor of the stifling political correctness that has set the tone for the cultural and political instability we have witnessed over the past decades.
The irony is, the left's naive vision of a permanent brown shirt anarchist class graduating from the halls of state indoctrination will perpetually attack the very capitalist taxpayers that supported them. The colleges will morph from Marxist hellholes where the only inevitable outcome is the toppling of the left itself. John Bound reporting.
There you go. If I could just get that. Okay, there we go. University of Wisconsin-Madison considers removing racist boulder. Honk, honk. Here we are. University of Wisconsin-Madison may soon remove a 70-ton boulder that student activists claim is a symbol of the school's racist past. On November 19th, the university's campus planning committee voted unanimously to recommend the removal of Chamberlain Rock, named after former university president Thomas Trouter Chamberlain. The rock became a source of controversy when students found that a 1925 newspaper clipping called the rock a N-word head, a common term at the time for large dark rocks. The university confirmed that the clipping was the only known instance for the term being used on campus. Well, still not a good look. Still not a fun word to say. I get that. Pope Francis, back to him, praises NBA players for racial justice protests. You're champions, he says. No surprise there. Man says, I have COVID, spits at hikers for not wearing masks. Where's this video? There it is.
I have COVID. I've been tested positive. I have COVID. I've been tested positive.
You okay?
No. I have COVID. I've been tested positive.
So gross, isn't it? So gross. Nevada governor orders indoor mask mandate, limits private gatherings ahead of Thanksgiving. So more of this, more of these people trying to shut down Thanksgiving and Christmas. I hope that none of you are paying attention to that and still planning on something nice, some kind of a get-together with family, friends, loved ones. That's just opinion stuff. Video of cops arresting man for defying CV curfew in California is from Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, in October, updated. Okay, so somebody was using some old footage and acting as if it's new. Get it? Some of these are just things I'm looking at on my own, nothing I really wanted to share. On Thanksgiving, Democrats demand the ultimate family separation policy. I've already heard stories about that. From the UK, they were talking about being careful what you talk about at the dinner table. Don't start any political conversations. Report people for their conversations during the holidays. Harvard creating new anti-racism librarian job that pays up to $240,000 per year. What, Chubbs? Come here. What's up? You want to say hi? Huh? Come here. He's over there in the corner just meowing at me. You know how these cats do. Now he's running away. What a little baby. Governor says there is no constitutional right to walk around without a mask. It's the governor of Maryland. Star contestant Ken Jennings will host Jeopardy for its first new episodes after death of Alex Trebek. Little entertainment news for you. Rules for thee, not for me. Governor Andrew Cuomo's Thanksgiving plans include his mother. Andrew Cuomo says, my daughter isn't coming to Thanksgiving. She's out of state and it's safer not to travel. It's hard, but I can't think of a better gesture of love than to say I'm making the tough choice to keep you and our family safe. We may be physically apart, but we're okay. I can't even read this guy's garbage. He's a terrible, terrible person. Global transport body developing travel pass app to link proof of vaccination to passports. So we see where that's heading. Of course.
You know what we are recommending, because the vaccine is not there yet and will be probably deployed massively in the second half of 2021, and because we cannot wait for such a long time to restart, we propose to state to implement a systematic testing for passengers at departure airport or at the arrival, but to test systematically everybody. So you fly someone who is safe, who is not infected, or where the risk of infection is so low that the pandemic is under control, which we think is the key issue. And the testing technology allows that now.
And who is supposed to pay for this testing?
That's a very good question, because the second major improvement that the technology has made is to reduce the cost. With the PCR test, you are in the area of $80 to $100 per test.
All right, we get it. The walls are closing in, right? I mean, that's all a part of the agenda, always has been. FEMA regions, locking down quadrants, sections, easier to control that way. And now they're starting to talk about putting this along with your passport. Come on. But we already know. We knew this was coming. We know what it is. There's no fear. We fight how we're led. Pray about it. How can I fight back? What can I do? I'm doing what I can do. But you pray about it. We try to figure it out. Either way, being prepared for what's to come. This is biblical. It's prophecy. You can't fight the New World Order off necessarily. We can fight. We got to fight. We've seen some videos tonight of people standing up. It's good. It's a great thing. But it's keeping that balance. Staying involved, standing for the right, standing for truth, but also preparing ourselves for what's to come, which may seem like the worst, but it's the best. We know what comes after all this. Satan has a short time. That's where we're seeing the panic. I see all these stories as panic. They're pushing as hard as they can to get this system in. So no fear. Leftists suggest, here's more of this though, that divide I was talking about. Leftists suggest re-education camps, firing squads, and banning talk radio to deprogram 75 million Trump supporters. So I told you this is where that's heading. You see? Top pathologist claims crown virus is the greatest hoax ever perpetrated on an unsuspecting public. Video removed, of course. See, look at this. Last time I saw this video is no longer available because a YouTube account associated with this video has been terminated. There it is. Can't see that. Can't see that information, but look up Dr. Roger Hodgkinson. Look up information on Dr. Roger Hodgkinson. A little bit of a throwback, a little Alex Jones video about the Great Reset. We'll watch some of this. How long is this? 10 minutes? We'll check some of this out. What else are you going to do on a Tuesday night? If it'll let me play. Let's try this again.
And behold, a pale horse, and his name that sat on him was Death, and hell followed with him. And power was given unto them over the fourth part of the earth to kill with the sword, and with hunger, and with death, and with the beast of the earth. I want to show you something that's more than just an allegory. I want to show you something that's life and death for you and your family and the whole future of our species. More than 100 years ago, powerful robber baron elites adopted a system known as social Darwinism, saying might makes right and we should just go ahead and follow Malthusian ideas of forced depopulation. And that idea grew from just shadows, just ideas being promoted, by ruthless men, and it began to turn over the next 100 years or so into something very, very real. And it was no longer just shadows. It was a real manifestation of an idea for a one world government to carry out the orderly depopulation of the planet, a brave new world. And that's where we are in the year 2020. All the planning, all the beta testing is over. And now the Great Reset is here. It's a future. And for 80+% of us, we're not in it. We're here at the Georgia Guidestones outside the tiny town of Elberton, Georgia. These mysterious stones were erected by a secretive group in 1980. We've done deep research to track back exactly who's behind these stones and why they're so significant in the year 2020 and what the Great Reset signifies to every human on Earth. CNN founder Ted Turner reportedly funded the creation of the trust under the name R.C. Christian or Rosicrucian, with other donations from rich benefactors that wish to build an endless marker promoting their ideas for the future of the planet and humanity. Carved into the face of this blue pyramid granite in the 8 great languages of the world, this power cult tells us exactly what they believe and their plans for all of us. And notice that R.C. Christian and his little merry band of depopulationists have a whole bunch of cameras, some in plain view, some hidden, that reportedly go back to the local sheriff's department, who's paid a tidy sum of money every year to watch and protect this temple to the post-human era. When you erect a temple in the middle of the rolling hills of rural Georgia,
there used to be blood on top of that. Let's see.
the post-human era. When you erect a temple,
I can't pause it. There used to be blood up on top of that. It's a ritual slab.
Tens of millions of dollars over 30 years to upkeep it and have surveillance cameras and floodlights and have it repaired hundreds of times when it's been vandalized. It's because it's what you believe with all of your heart. It's what you stand for. It's your manifesto. We're about to go over what's written on the face of the stone and then look at the individuals that financed it and their other public statements. And it is something akin to what would come out of the mouth of Adolf Hitler. These stones are more than just a temple. They're more than just a manifesto or a testament. They are commandments being handed down to us by those that would run our lives. And to a great extent, do run our lives under the Great Reset. We'll cover more in a moment. But first, let's read the first verse. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Like we're pets, like we're a dog or a cat we take care of, or like we're a museum piece where they cull the population from 7.5 billion down to 500 million. I wonder who the lucky people are that are going to get to live. But they're not just going to guide how many people get to live. No. They're going to guide, like China's one-child policy, reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. That's a nice way of saying eugenics. The third commandment, unite humanity with a living new language. The fourth commandment, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. But they will tell us what our traditions are. They're going to rule our passions, our faith, our tradition, and all things will be tempered with reason by our controllers up on Mount Olympus, our gods. They will tell us what virtue is. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. But of course, they will decide what that means. Again, everything in these stones is United Nations world government law put into religious type connotations. Like this doublespeak. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. So you have a world court over you, but you still have your sovereignty. That's doublespeak, and that's exactly how the United Nations operates in its Universal Declaration of Human Rights, where in its last articles it says none of these rights exist if the UN says they don't exist. You only have rights when they selectively say you have rights. Number 7, avoid petty laws and useless officials. This is Karl Marx. The state grows up, it is giant, it creates utopia, and then it withers away. But It's always big billionaire financiers who are tax exempt and above the law who want regulations for them to be non-existent only for us. Again, this is all communist, globalist, new age garbage. And of course, balance personal rights with social duties. It's a balance, and they decide when you have personal rights. It was for a greater good, you've got to be sterilized. It was for a greater good, you got to be euthanized. It was for the greater good. You can't leave your house because somebody might die of COVID, even though the COVID shutdown is starving tens of millions. See how that works? And again, they're telling us they're the good guys that do want to kill 80% of us plus. Prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. The infinite, which of course is bowing down and turning your consciousness over to these individuals that will dictate reality to you in the matrix. And finally, the 10th commandment, be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. In other words, get out of the way. I'm Ted Turner. I'm having 5 children, dozens of houses, millions of acres, mistresses, jet airplanes, yachts, sailboats, jumbo jets, helicopters. You don't get anything. Roll over and die. I'm the Guardian. I'm Ted Turner. I'm Bill Gates. I'm the New World Order. Their plan is called the Great Reset. Their manual of operations is Agenda 2030, a public UN plan in the name of world peace and stopping hunger that actually shuts down the world economy and will cause massive depopulation. Sustainability, build back better, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030. When you hear these terms, it's all building towards a post-human dystopia. The globalists.
Okay, we got it. That's good for Alex. That's enough for Alex. Only got 2 more stories. CDC tells Americans to avoid alcohol and singing during Thanksgiving gatherings. More of this lunacy. Actually, that last one I'm saving for my next video. So I'm going to jump over here real quick to the chat and just say, hey guys, thank you once again for being here. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks for spending a few hours here with us, and hope you enjoyed it. You know, like I said, I just show you a little bit of all the things I think are interesting that I stumbled upon throughout the week. And, you may like some, you may not like some. It's okay. It's a mix. It's whatever. I just throw it all together and we go through it together and look at it. So I hope you had a good time. Thanks again to the moderators. Huge thanks as always to my Patreon and PayPal supporters. Also, guys, all my links are below under the player if you want to check those out. There's also a link for emergency food supplies if you're interested in doing some form of prepping. And link to the scariest movie ever.tv if you're interested in that as well. It's another way to watch my videos, and you can see them on Amazon and Fire Stick and Roku and all kinds of stuff. Also a link to the Discord free community chat. Check it out. Click the link. You'll get a page that says expired. It's not. Click the blue button. Next page, look to your left-hand side, click chat room, and you're in. It's that easy. So check it out. Guys, hey, thank you once again. I always like to end these shows with a short prayer. So if you'll allow me, I'll just say, Heavenly Father, thanks once again for a great place for us all to hang out, talk, look at these things happening here in the world as everything seems to be coming to a close in a lot of ways. And just thanks for being with us. Thanks for providing a place for this great community. And thank you for keeping us all in a good state of mind and not living in fear, not being afraid of all these things, and help us to decipher everything that's happening as we go. And we thank you and I love you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, guys. Hey, on that note, I'll let you go for now. I'm working on a new video, of course, and be having a new show here soon. Not just KJ's What Happened, usually on Friday is what I'm looking at, but I may do something else where it's just a live call-in again type show where I'll put the link in the chat. You guys can come in. It's been a few weeks since we've done that, so I think it's about time. So we'll do that here shortly, okay? All right, man. You guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Till next time.